Hello students, this is Purushottam Vishwakarma and we are live again with a new chapter, Federalism, class 10th SST, Civics, chapter number 2. This is part 1 of this chapter, Federalism. But before we start this chapter, we must recapitulate what we studied in first chapter, that is power sharing. And hopefully you have studied well the very first chapter in civics, power sharing. So what is there in power sharing? Power sharing means power is shared among different organs of the government. So power is being shared, and that kind of arrangement is known as power sharing. You studied two kind of arrangements, horizontal arrangement and vertical arrangement. Now we are going to study federalism, and in this chapter what we are going to study, basically three topics we will study in this part of the video. Federalism, that means what is federalism, then unitary governments, and last topic we will study in this video, some of the key features of federalism. So let's begin. The very first thing we have federalism. What is federalism? Federalism is a system of government in which the power is divided between a central authority and various constituent units of the country. Constituent means different provinces, constituencies like states, union territories, units of the country. Once again, what is federalism? Federalism is a system of government in which the power is divided between a central authority, that means central government, and various constituent units of the country, that is state government. Usually a federation has two levels of government. Usually federalism has two levels of government. If there is a federation, usually it has two levels of government. What are the two levels? Central government or union government along with state government. One is the government for the entire country. One is the government for the entire country, that is union government, that is usually responsible for a few subjects of common national interest. It deals with national interest. It has authority to make and implement laws for national welfare. The others are governments at the level of provinces. If you remember, Uttar Pradesh had its earlier name United Province. So what are these provinces? Different states. The label of provinces or states, it has been cleared here, or states that look after much of the day-to-day administering of their state. So what is the task of a state level government? To take the interest, to deal with the interest of the people residing in the state. Both these levels of government enjoy their power independent of each other. Central government has independent power while state government has independent power. These are not dependent on anybody. Now, unitary governments. What are unitary governments? Unitary governments means single. Unitary means single. You may have studied unitary method of mathematical algebra. Under the unitary system, either there is only one level of government. Unitary means only one. Under the unitary system, either there is only one level of government or the sub-units are subordinate to the central government. Sub-units are subordinate. That means those sub-units are forced to work under unitary government. under a single authority. So here unitary governments are those kind of unitary system or systems where there is only one level of government, or the subunits, that is state governments are so to the subordinate to the central government, they act as subordinate to the central government. The central government can pass on orders to the provincial or the local government. Very important. The central government has the authority to pass on orders to the provincial or the local government. That means central government has complete control over provincial or the local government. Central government is powerful in such unitary form of government, whereas these provincial or local governments lack in power. But in a federal system, the central government cannot order the state government to do something. But in a federal system like in India, the central government cannot order the state government to do something. The central government can suggest only. Now, some of the key features of federalism. How will you define that there in a country is federalism? How will you define? There are some characteristics, key features. So let's see what are the key features. There are two or more levels or tiers of government. So this is a form of government where there are two or more levels: central government, state government, and hopefully local government. Second one, different tiers of government govern the same citizens. These levels of government, whether central government or state government, govern the same set of citizens. The citizens are same. That means if you are a citizen of India, you are under the governments of central government as well as your particular state government. But each tier has its own jurisdiction, an area of judiciary in specific matters of legislation, taxation and administration, where there is no effect of other government. If there is a state government, it has its own judiciary jurisdiction, and it has to deal with especially those matters underlying in the premises of that state. Third one, the jurisdiction of the respective levels or tiers of government are specified in the constitution, and it is clearly specified in our constitution what will be the jurisdiction, what will be the area for that particular state or central government. So the existence of authority of each tier of government is constitutionally guaranteed. So it is guaranteed in our constitution. What are the areas that will lie with the state government or central government? Fourth feature of federalism, the fundamental provisions of the constitution cannot be unilaterally changed by the consent of only one person. It requires the consent of all. The fundamental provisions, that are fundamentally given in constitution, cannot be unilaterally changed by one level of government. Such changes require the consent of both the levels of government. If the government want to change the fundamental provisions of the constitution, it will require the consent of both central as well as state government. Now the fifth one, courts have the power to interpret the constitution. Courts have the power, High Court, Supreme Court, these have power to interpret time to time, to define what is written in the constitution and the powers of different levels of government. And it is the duty of courts to define the power of different levels of the government, whether it is central government or state government. The highest court acts as an umpire So Supreme Court of India acts as an umpire if disputes arise between different levels of government in the exercise of their respective powers. If there is any dispute, if there is any conflict between central government or state government, then the umpire will be there, the decider will be there, the judge will be there, Supreme Court of India. Now sixth one, sources of revenue for each level of government are clearly specified to ensure its financial autonomy. Sources of revenue, it is clearly written in the constitution. What will be the sources of revenue, how will they earn their income? It is clearly specified in our constitution for each level of government, whether it is central government or state government, so that it can be ensured the financial status of that sector, you can say, or state government or central government. Now the next and last one, the federal system thus has dual objectives. In this way, federal system has dual objectives. What are the two objectives? First one, to safeguard and promote unity of the country, while at the same time accommodate regional diversity. First, to safeguard the cultures, traditions, and promote it, while at the same time accommodate regional diversity, to keep way with regional diversity. Therefore, two aspects are crucial for the institution and practice of federalism. So these two aspects are crucial, very important for the institution and practice of federalism. There are two kinds of routes through which federations have been formed. What are the two kinds of routes through which federations have been formed? First one, coming together federations. What is coming together federations? This route involves independent states coming together on their own to form a bigger unit, so that by pooling sovereignty and retaining identity, they can increase their security. This type of coming together federations include the USA, Switzerland and Australia. Now the next and last topic in this video lecture, holding together federations. In this route, a large country decides to divide its power between the constituent states and the national government. So what is holding together federation? Holding together federation means this is the way when a large country decides to divide its power between the constituent states and the national government. For example, India, Spain and Belgium are examples of this kind of holding together federations, where central government has given its power to other constituent states. So that's all in this video. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.